Sound check 1 2 3. Sound check 1 2 3.
Good afternoon, everyone. As we have quorum present for today's meeting, I'd like to call this meeting of our Hamilton Municipal Heritage Committee to order. Just a reminder that all electronic devices are to be switched to a non-audible function during our committee meetings. As I go through the names, if I could just get everybody to acknowledge their presence. So we have Councillor Kretsch, Karen Burke. Present. Graham Carroll.
Present. Andrew
Douglas.
Present.
Lynn Ludstead. Present. Andy McLaren. Stefan Spalnick.
Present.
Thank you, everyone. Next is our approval of the agenda. May I please have a mover and a seconder to approve the agenda as presented?
I see Karen and Graham.
Are there any amendments from committee members to the agenda today? Graham, go ahead.
I'd like to see if we can get an update on the mayor's initiative for buildings at risk.
We can add that to general information other business after item 11.3. So it'll be item 11.4.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
As we move to vote, is there anyone opposed to approving the agenda as presented? Seeing none, that item is carried. Under declarations of interest, are there any declarations today? Seeing none, we'll move on to the approval of our minutes of the previous meeting. May I have a mover and a seconder to adopt the minutes as presented from December 13th, 2024. So I need a mover and a seconder.
I see Stefan and Councillor Kretsch.
And is there any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, as we move to vote, is there anyone opposed? Seeing none, that item is carried. Under item 7 is our items for information. May I please have a mover and a seconder to receive the items of information under 7.1, 7.2, and 7.3.
I see Graham and Karen.
Is there any discussion on these items? Seeing none, as we move to vote, is there anyone opposed? Seeing none, that item is carried. Item 8 is our items for consideration. So we have before us today PED 25025, recommendation to designate 105 Erie Avenue, Hamilton, under Part 4 of the Ontario Heritage Act, Ward 3. Marissa Barris is Cultural Heritage Planning Technician, is here to give us a presentation. Welcome, Marissa.
Hello. As stated, my name is Marissa Barris, a Cultural Heritage Planning Technician, and I'm presenting on staff's recommendation to designate the property at 105 Erie Avenue. Sorry about that. So comprised of a 2.5-story brick residence constructed circa 1893, the subject property was first surveyed for potential heritage interest in 2002, and in 2013, the property's owner submitted a request for designation, at which point staff conducted a preliminary review of the property. In that same year, it was also added to the Municipal Heritage Register. In 2022, the property was identified as a high priority for review for designation by January 1st, 2025. In June 2023, the owner was notified of their property's new status as a priority, and in October 2024, the property owner reconfirmed their interest in designation. In October and November of 2024, staff conducted site visits, including documentation of interior features, which the owner requested to be included in the designation. Here you can see a summary of the staff evaluation, which determined that the property meets 6 of the 9 criteria for designation, which I'll now go into more detail on. The property meets 2 design and physical value criteria as a representative example of a late 19th century vernacular Queen Anne Revival architecture, including features like its asymmetrical composition, polychromatic brickwork, a 2-story front bay with projecting gable, decorative barge board, returning eaves, and decorative wooden brackets with a sunbeam design, which you can see here. segmental windows with buff brick voussoirs and stone lug sills, stained glass transoms on the double front doors, and full-length front porch with columns, plate entablature with a dentelated cornice, and wooden railing with spindles. As well, many of the windows retain historic window glass, historic wooden storms, shutters, and hardware, and the main entrance retains its historic hardware, including a wind-up turn bell, hinges, and doorknobs, and decorative wooden scrollwork. Also of note are select interior features, including doors with original hardware, decorative molding, stained glass transoms, and a tiled cast iron fireplace. Speaking of, the tiled cast iron fireplace with religious and natural motifs, exterior decorative wooden brackets with sunbeam design, stained glass transoms, dentelated cornice, and onyx columns also demonstrate a high degree of craftsmanship. The property meets two historical associative criteria, being connected to themes of economic and industrial development and prosperity in late 19th and early 20th century Hamilton. The Stinson neighborhood, where the property is located, was rapidly developing during this period as a new middle and upper middle class neighborhood, catering to the growing industrial opportunities in Hamilton. Among the property's owners is the Bartman family, who owned the property for over 80 years, playing an important part in maintaining the historic integrity of the building over time. The property is also associated with Alfred Wavelpine, a notable local architect who worked on the property circa 1908, likely contributing to the property's addition and possibly the porch and interior. He grew up in Hamilton and became one of the most successful architects in the city, designing a number of residential and institutional buildings, including a large number of properties in the Stinson neighborhood. His best-known works include the Royal Connaught Hotel and the former Hamilton Public Library, which is now the Ontario Court of Justice. The property also reflects the work of builders Brown and McBeath, who were responsible for building at least 5 brick dwellings on Erie Avenue from 1890 to 1893, including the properties immediately adjacent to 105 Erie Avenue. The property meets 2 contextual criteria, supporting the late 19th and early 20th century residential landscape of the area, and being historically and visually linked to its surroundings. The property's immediate neighbors, as I mentioned, were also constructed by Brown and McBeath and share the same design.